If you feel like you're posting every single day and getting nothing back, then you are stuck in the content hamster wheel, and it is slowly destroying your coaching business. This cycle of 100 views, 1,000 views, 2,000 views, 50 views, and over again, whilst you kind of been promised that eventually it'll pay off, that eventually it'll scale your business and scale your personal brand, but you haven't seen anything happen, right? And the reason why this is bad is because you are at the mercy of the algorithm. You're probably going to be thinking at some point, how long will it take to actually go viral? And how long will it actually take to hit that dollar per month goal? Your content, even if you go viral, it isn't being seen by the right people. And even if it does get seen by the right people, it takes weeks to convert them. And the worst part is that even if you do go viral, and even if you do hit that record month, what happens the next month when your views dip, right? Business should not feel like gambling. And so the ideal solution is something that takes way less time, stress, and money, gets faster results, attracts predictable and consistent clients, and complements posting once per day. And we call this CRA, cognitive response ads. There's a few things that you can pair it with, once again, that complement it by posting once per day. So let's dive into it. And the whole idea of this is that this CRA, this cognitive response ad, is still reliant on followers, but you don't have to post over and over again. And so let me break down what a cognitive response ad is, okay? So a cognitive response ad is an ad that emotionally triggers people to take an action. And so in this case, that action is following you, right? Why? Because following is a low commitment. It doesn't cost them anything, either time or money, and it's very long term because someone can be following you for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years. Like, social media is still a new thing, but this next generation, people could literally be following you for 20 plus years, 50 years. Imagine how long term and how valuable is that? Someone could become a billionaire in 50 years, and then you have a billionaire that follows you and it's deciding to work with you when the time comes to it. So how do you actually do and build a CRA ad? The first step is understanding the structure, which is hook. So you need a way to basically instantly grab attention. Then you need to call out their problems and agitate those problems, like basically driving the knife deeper into the wound, because agitation is one of the most important parts of this ad. Agitation and problems is where you kind of bring out the pain and then you make the pain seem permanent and trapping. And right after the pain, you have the mid-roll call to action. That's within the first 20-30 seconds where you tell people to take this action where I'll give you this solution. And then after you kind of say the solution, you want to talk about the benefits and then the actual desired outcomes of that. You need to make it very visual, very easy to understand, because people are in their dumbest state on social media. And then you want to have client results to add proof. And after you do that, you then want to have the final call to action right here. Now, the strategy is you run this as a boosted reel on Instagram. Now, the second part of running a CRA ad is the emotion that the ad evokes, right? And the reason why the emotion is so important is because emotion grabs attention, right? People scroll so fast at being boring, it's invisible. But if you trigger some kind of emotion, that's how you can capture and retain attention. That's why, in and of itself, social media is so addictive, because it's literally micro emotions over and over again, right? You're seeing a video that makes you happy, a video makes you sad, a video that makes you angry, a video that triggers you, and it's just micro emotions, which is why people are so hooked to it, which is why I personally don't even use it, even though that's like what my business is built on. Anyway, then emotions also bypass skepticism, right? Because logical pitches trigger the brain's sales alarm, but emotion will allow you to slip through the cracks. It's the same thing that, top salespeople and top closers do, right? People don't question their feelings, they just feel them. And if you can make people think and say these things, or even just like, oh, I love this person, then that's an emotion that will bypass skepticism. Some of our best performing ads are actually just making people essentially like us and be like, oh, this person is a G. I like this person. I'm going to, check out what they're doing. Because that bypasses all the traditional skepticism of sending people onto a landing page and a free training. This whole funnel bypasses that, and it's really optimized for how people buy things in 2025. And 3, emotions make people take action, because most people, they do know what to do. They just don't feel enough pain, urgency, or desire to do it. This is literally what the entire info product industry is built on. People knowing what to do, but just not feeling enough pain or desire or urgency to make it happen. And so ads that make people feel uncomfortable about their current situation convert best. That's why we have these problems and these agitations right here. And that's why in the call to action, we literally do what I call an identity-based call to action. I wasn't even going to tell you this in this video, but it's so valuable. An identity-based call to action is where if they don't take action, it's violating their identity. It's violating the person that they're on a mission to become. So, it could be like, if you're tired of these things and you actually want this desired situation, then take this action. And the reason why it works so well with follower ads is because the action is, once again, low commitment, low cost, it's free, doesn't cost them anything. And so it's a complete no-brainer to take the action, right? And number 4, people justify emotionally driven decisions with logic later. So you don't really buy a Ferrari, right? Because it makes sense. You buy it because it makes you feel good. And then, you can justify it by saying it holds value well. Same thing with watches, right? I love a good watch, but you'll buy a watch and then you'll justify it by saying, yeah, it's an investment when people question it. When in reality, it was probably a status thing, but a cool status thing at that. Anyway, now you have this consistent tap, this predictable source of traffic where you can simply, turn the dial of the tap, turn the nozzle, and more water, aka more money, will come flowing out of it. So this is consistent, it's predictable, it's reliable, instead of being stuck in this unpredictable hamster wheel. And you need a place to nurture these people, which is why I call this the Instagram landing page. This is your world, right? These people are seeing your reels, your stories, your page setup, your YouTube, your DM, seeing about all these features. It's better than any landing page on the planet because it is like the most overpowered retargeting ad, right? It's like a landing page that people see every single day. They can see your reels every day, your stories every day, your direct messages every day, your YouTube content, right? You can funnel stories to YouTube content. And so this funnel is literally like unbelievably good for nurturing people, because unlike going on a landing page once, watching a 10-minute video of you selling people, right? They go on this Instagram landing page. There's free value, free value, free value. And it's like repetitive over and over and over again, right? They're seeing it day by day. And so all that free value makes people feel like they need to reciprocate, feel like they need to give you value back because of all the value you've been giving them. So it's literally retargeting ads on stories, okay? So how do you build one? Here's mine. You can see here, optimized profile picture, just like a lifestyle thing. Authoritative bio, built a 76K a month business at 16. Now I've done these things for these people with the unique mechanism. Check out my YouTube channel. Bang, I've just extended that nurture ecosystem. I have reels here to build trust and to provide value, to make people feel like they need to reciprocate. I have lifestyle content to build authority and make me look like a real person. I have multiple result highlights because that crafts the perception that I have so many client results that people want to, and they're inclined to actually checking it out. And so how do you actually build it? You simply need to optimize these things, right? You need to optimize your reels, post daily reels, post daily stories, have a good page set up with a profile picture, a bio, highlights, everything like that. From there, you need to be posting on YouTube. I post on YouTube once a day. Once again, though, it's only effective posting YouTube once a day when you have this consistent source of traffic. I wouldn't be posting on YouTube once a day if there wasn't any consistent traffic. Why? Because it's a waste of my time, because I don't know when it's going to pay off pouring all this time and resources into posting on YouTube once a day. The reason I do it is because people from my ads are now consuming my YouTube content. So I'm basically predictably getting these viewers, getting these followers, these long-term assets, and then having them get nurtured by my content, by me, which is extremely powerful for the long term, right? Anyway, let's keep going. The DMs is another crazy aspect, right? And the way we leverage DMs is with an appointment setup. Because think about it. With DMs, you can send people voice notes. You can send people videos and photos. You can send people follow-ups. It's one-to-one. They literally think they're talking to you. You can even call them, for goodness sake. You can literally call them on Instagram. A landing page, a webinar has none of those features. It doesn't feel one-to-one. It doesn't feel personalized. You can't interact with people on a consistent basis. And so this here is unbelievably powerful. If you can get a follower to reply to your DM, and by the way, if people follow you, all your appointment setter needs to do is follow them back, and when they message them, it goes right to the top of the primary inbox. So there's no waiting. The reply rate is ridiculously high. And so these people, it's just unbelievably good to nurture people, right? And the most powerful part of this is that it's at scale, right? It's not a one-time thing. It's not a one-time webinar where they can click off and never see you again. It's happening at scale. There's multiple people. There's hundreds of people all talking to you, thinking it's you. It's one-to-one. It builds so much trust because people have a lack of trust for these traditional funnels this year. And so you can do it for so many people. And so you can execute this one-to-one connection, this human connection at scale, right? So how do you actually get an appointment setter? First thing you do, post a story, ask if anyone knows any good setters. You'll get a ton of people DMing you. Literally, if you're an appointment setter watching this video who's in my DMs, I literally just haven't been on Instagram for a week, so I'm not trying to ignore you guys. I have literally 50 in my DMs right now. And I mean, I'll find roles for them all at some point because we have like 70 clients, 70 coaches that we work with, and we're scaling right now. Anyway, and then you want to interview them. So you want to get on, you want to, determine if they're a good person, ask to see some of the conversations they ran in the past. If it's good, then you could onboard them. Next step is building a setting flow. This is essentially like an SOP for appointment setters. Now, our SOPs are honestly just ridiculously good, and I had to redact some of these because, like, you can't know what we do with some of these things. Like, it's just unbelievable source. Like, it's not, as much as I like to give you guys free value, I can't do that on YouTube, right? But there's basically you want to kind of map out all the different ways that, leads are kind of getting into the ecosystem. And then you want to map out how the setter can communicate with them. And then the flow, like what they do. So, carrying the convo a bit, qualifying them, then moving into like the pitch process. Once again, I had to remove that because it's literally just, too overpowered. Then you can kind of get into like it's just a flow step by step, what to do. Great, I'll send you my calendar. You can find a time that works for you, sound good. The post-booking process, qualifying once again, the pre-call follow-up process. Like, you can kind of go through this and pause if you want. I don't want to kind of bore you out, but having a setting flow is really important. And to kind of summarize what a setting flow is, it's literally just like having what happens and when someone gets into the ecosystem, essentially. So what you do, how you communicate with them, how you carry the conversation to a point where you can pitch the call, or your appointment setter can pitch the call and close them. Once again, can't leak ours because chances are is a lot of people watching this are probably in our appointment setting process right now as well. They just can't tell. Anyway, from here, you want to run the ramp up phase. It's a 5-day phase where you do daily calls. I do this with all my employees when I onboard them. 5 days where I do calls every single day with them and really make sure everything's sticking, make sure they're on track, reviewing what they're doing, reviewing their conversations, reviewing their numbers, make sure they're hitting their numbers. And from there, you just want to monitor and track, right? Have a nice, spreadsheet for tracking. And so this system is genuinely the best way to scale in 2025. And if anyone's still, posting content or getting that, shiny object system now, syndrome now of clippers, just, it's not worth it, right? Because if you think about clipping as a concept, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, you're going to get an army of people to chop up content of you, to try and blast it out and like basically brute force the algorithm to give you views. And by brute forcing the algorithm to give you views, you're getting views, you're not getting targeted people. Like, having 5,000 followers making 20K a month is way more valuable to me than getting 100 million views or 1 billion views. Because sure, an eighth of the planet has seen who I am, but that'll probably bring more harm than good. Whereas 5,000 people who all like me, trust me, respect me, resonate with me is insanely valuable, which is why, I've only got, I'm building to 500 subscribers on YouTube right now, right? It's just, it's invaluable to have these things, okay? So if you do this for 3 months, you stay consistent, you will never have a client acquisition problem ever again. And so this was day 11, actually, I just realized, out of 100, where, I'm 16 years old, my coaching program is doing 50K a month on autopilot, my ads are dialed in, my delivery is locked, and now it's time for my next play where I've acquired equity on 7 coaching businesses and 2 software companies. I've fully closed my doors, so I don't have anything to sell you, and instead I'm just documenting how we're actually scaling all of them and not just what we're doing like everyone on this platform was. Like, I literally showed you our setting flow. Of course, there's some parts I can't show you just because, it's too much source, but I'm showing you exactly how we're doing it. So the goal is to hit 100K a month before I turn 17. We're literally at like, we're so close right now. So yeah, subscribe if you want to see me do that. And also subscribe if you want to be part of the first 1,000 subscribers. We're only at like 450 right now. So yeah, appreciate you guys. See you in the next one. Have a nice day. See ya.